What's up? Alright. How was that? Flash briefing.
Jamie, here's your flash briefing. In NPR News.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Windsor Johnston. Russia continues to pound the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv from the air. At least 4 people were killed after Russian forces launched drone attacks in the city today. Russia has also knocked out power and water supplies in several Ukrainian cities. White House National Security Advisor John Kirby says the administration is also monitoring Russian threats of using a nuclear weapon.
To try to deter the use, we have already made it very clear publicly and privately to the Russians that should they move forward with a weapon of mass destruction or a nuclear weapon of whatever kind, that there would be severe consequences.
The White House says it's speeding up shipments of air defense systems to Ukraine. It's part of an additional authorization of more than $700 million of arms and equipment to help the country push back against the ongoing Russian invasion. Starting today, hearing aids can be sold over the counter in stores and pharmacies across the U.S. NPR's Joe Hernandez reports the change was approved by the Food and Drug Administration.
Those with perceived mild or moderate hearing loss can now buy hearing aids in stores and online without a medical exam or a prescription, thanks to the FDA rule change. The FDA finalized the change in August following legislation passed in 2017 requiring the agency to create a category of over-the-counter hearing aids, but the rule doesn't regulate some consumer concerns like requiring return policies, and experts recommend researching hearing aids before buying them.
It's a hearing
aid is expected to make hearing aids significantly cheaper for patients.
Why didn't we have to go to
or even several $1,000s
get a prescription for a Bluetooth? Idiots driving around with those, sometimes they don't need them.
Or people with severe hearing impairment. Joe Hernandez, NPR News.
Stocks opened higher on Wall Street this morning after better-than-expected earnings reports from major banks. NPR's Scott Horsley says the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up more than 500 points in early trading.
Stock in Bank of America rose after the company's consumer business reported a big jump in revenue, boosted in part by rising interest rates. The bank says its customers still have larger than usual deposits, but spending on credit and debit cards is up sharply. B of A also set aside an extra $378 million to guard against future loan losses as the economy slows.
Don't use your paper money.
European stocks got a boost as the UK's government backtracked further on proposed tax cuts that had roiled financial markets worldwide. Gasoline prices in the U.S. have eased a bit. AAA reports the average price of gas is now about $3.89 a gallon, down about 3 cents in the last week. Scott Worsley, NPR News, Washington.
You're listening to NPR News in Washington. A new report shows that hundreds of police officers in the United Kingdom have been getting away with breaking the law and misconduct. The long-awaited report shows more than half of Metropolitan Police officers who were found guilty of sexual misconduct over a 4-year period kept their jobs. It also includes allegations of homophobia, racism, and misogyny.
Yeah, it sounds like that's every police force.
Protests continued at Tehran University and elsewhere over the weekend, with demonstrators calling for the end of the Islamic regime, among other things. Meanwhile, NPR's Peter Kenyon reports the Iranian government doubled the official death toll from this weekend's fire at Tehran's Aviv prison to 8.
The higher death toll is still well below the estimates of human rights groups. Iran's state news agency reported that the head of Iran's Human Rights Council visited the prison and said, quote, thugs and prisoners convicted of violent crimes had clashed with prison guards, before adding that the unrest was over and calm had been restored. He made no mention of 2 Americans held at the prison or anti-government activists or political prisoners. The European Union is reportedly considering new sanctions, including blacklisting Iran's morality police. Peter Kenyon, NPR News, Istanbul.
A flood emergency continues across parts of southeast Australia. Officials say roughly 34,000 homes are at risk in parts of Victoria. The states of New South Wales and Tasmania are also experiencing flooding. I'm Windsor Johnston, NPR News in Washington.
No commercials.
Hi, I'm Daniel Alarcon, host of NPR's Spanish language podcast, Radio Ambulante. This season, Superman flies to Chile
Why
for
do
some
we add
real-life
commercials
heroes.
to the flash
A very
briefing?
strange dog
First of
becomes
all,
front-page
you took
news
away the
in
word
Peru.
flash briefing,
Mexican
and it couldn't be
activists
called
infiltrate
that
an Austrian
anymore.
museum
And I
to
used
tell
to
the
joke
story
all
of
the
a
time,
controversial
I feel
artifact,
briefly
and
flash.
much more.
Now you brought
New
it
episodes
back.
every
Now you're
Tuesday
throwing
starting
commercials.
September 20th. Available
That I have
wherever
to
you get your
skip it all
podcasts.
the time.
In weather. In Seattle, there's an air quality alert in effect until Monday, October 17th, 11 a.m. The current weather is
And not
54
worry about
degrees Fahrenheit with clear skies. Today, you can expect hazy sunshine with a high of 69 degrees and a low of 52 degrees.
Today, you can expect the sun to
That's
shine
all for your
regularly
flash briefing.
with some smoke in the air. Yeah, it's not hazily shining. And again, you didn't tell me about NASA, you freaking... Amazon. What's new with NASA?
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Windsor Johnston. Russia continues to
NPR
pound the
called NASA?
Ukrainian capital of Kyiv from the air. At least 4 people were killed after Russian forces launched drone attacks in the city today. Russia has also knocked out power and water supplies
heard
in
this,
several
you moron.
Ukrainian cities. White House National Security Advisor John Kirby says the administration is also monitoring
Windsor
Russian threats
Johnson wanted
of
to be heard
using a
again.
nuclear weapon.
According
Let's
to
try
the
to deter the use. We have already made it very clear publicly and privately to the Russians that should they move forward with a weapon of mass destruction or a
So you
nuclear
threatened
weapon of whatever size, that there would be severe consequences.
The White House says it's
severe
speeding up
threat.
shipments of air defense systems to
Biden?
Ukraine. It's part of an additional
Boy, that's scary.
authorization of more than $700 million of arms and equipment to help the country push back against
Okay,
the
maybe I will
ongoing
listen to
Russian
this again.
invasion. Starting today, hearing aids can be sold over the counter in stores and pharmacies across the U.S. NPR's Joe Hernandez reports the change was approved by the Food and Drug Administration.
Those with perceived mild or moderate hearing loss can now buy hearing aids in stores and online without a medical exam or a prescription, thanks to the FDA rule change. The FDA finalized the change in August following legislation passed in 2017 requiring the agency to create a category of over-the-counter hearing aids. But the rule doesn't regulate some consumer concerns, like requiring return policies, and experts recommend researching hearing aids before buying them. The change is expected to make hearing aids significantly cheaper
Can you
for
hear?
patients who
No.
can save
You
hundreds
want
or
a hearing
even
aid?
several
Yeah.
$1,000s.
You want to research it before you buy it? Hell no, I want to be able to hear.
Devices are not for children or people with severe hearing impairment. Joe Hernandez, NPR News.
Stocks opened higher on Wall Street this morning after better than expected earnings reports from major banks. NPR's Scott Horsley says the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up more than 500 points in early
earnings are
trading.
better.
Stock in Bank
It's
of America
amazing.
rose
It
after the
helped
company's
our
consumer
profit
business
line.
reported a big
Oh,
jump
it's
in
so
revenue,
awesome.
boosted in part by rising interest rates. The
Oh,
bank
there
says
it
its
is.
customers
The
still
interest
have
rates.
larger than usual deposits, but spending on credit
That's what
and
did
debit
it.
cards
That's
is
what
up
did
sharply. B of A also set aside an extra $378 million to guard against future loan losses as the economy slows.
Oh, so you're planning
European
it.
stocks got a
Nice.
boost as the UK's government
Don't worry,
backtracked
we
further
got
on
you a
proposed
high
tax
interest
cuts
loan
that had
if the
roiled
economy
financial
falls.
markets
Wait, make it
worldwide.
fall.
Gasoline prices in the U.S. have eased a bit. AAA reports the average price of gas is now about $3.89 a gallon, down about 3 cents in the last week. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
Meantime,
You're
we're
listening to
589 over here.
NPR News in Washington.
Welcome to NPR. Up next, a mix of news from NPR and your local station. Listen to what you
No.
like and skip what you don't. Just say, Alexa, skip. Thanks for
Watch
listening
this
to
one.
NPR.
Amazon.
Up.
Off. Oh man, worked like a charm. Now let's see if we can get NASA for the second day in a row. Amazon. What's going on with the NASA Space Agency?
Here's what I found from techsplore.com.
Experimental technology used to cool equipment in space might soon be able to cut the charging times of electric vehicles to 5 minutes or less, American Space Agency NASA said this week.
To hear more, just say, next story.
Amazon, next story. So they're trying to
Here's
increase
what I found from Web.
the electric charge of
4
cars.
astronauts have
NASA
begun their journey back to Earth
is
from the
operating
International
on
Space
something
Station
to
in a
charge cars
SpaceX
quickly.
space capsule. The crew, which includes 3 members of NASA
sounds
and
like
1 of
good
the European
use of money.
Space Agency, will
Not
land
for
in the
space,
Atlantic
but,
Ocean
yeah.
off the coast of Florida.
For more related and popular stories, you can ask me, what is the latest news on Joe Biden?
I said, don't nobody want to know that. What, he fall on his face again? No, we're not going. Amazon, off. Thank you. Amazon. What's the weather in Kenmore, Washington?
Currently, in Kenmore, Washington, it's 48 degrees Fahrenheit with clear skies and sun. Today, you can expect hazy sunshine, with a high of 69 degrees and a low of 48 degrees. By the way, there's an air quality alert in effect until Monday, October 17th, 11 a.m.
Well, if you're healthy, you can breathe it. It'll be alright. I only got the indoor temperature, but the outdoor temperature's not working. That's the thing. Oh well. Check the batteries outside. Okay, everyone. Have a beautiful day. Breathe in the smoke if you're outside in this area.